All right, we will move on to a presentation by Julie Nevin from Pinal County Juvenile Probation, who will be informing us about Kids at Hope. And Julie, the camera's yours.
Hi, thanks everyone. Thanks for having us. I'm excited to be here. I know Karen's a part of your group, and Karen asked me to come, and we're just going to give you an overview of Kids at Hope. Karen, can I share my screen? I should be able to. See if I can get the PowerPoint up here. Can everybody see that? Good. Karen and I started with Kids at Hope. Karen, jump in here. I can't see you anymore because I switched modes here to the screen. But Karen and I started at Kids at Hope about 3 years ago. We went and became a trainer for Kids at Hope for one of their first workshops that they have. Kids at Hope is an organization based out of ASU and the Advanced Study and Research for Hope, for the philosophy of hope. And they have an entire organization at ASU that studies the philosophy hope. And so Kids at Hope, we got involved, like I said, about 3 years ago. And since then, we have been developed trainings and worked with Kids at Hope organization to help train our detention staff. I'm actually with Pinal County Schools. I'm the principal here at the Youth Justice Center. And I work inside the Youth Justice Center for Pinal County's detention. And they are a Kids at Hope school. And so right away, I jumped on board and got excited about the Kids at Hope philosophy. So this is just a brief introduction. I know the agenda says, I think 20 to 30 minutes, probably won't take that long, but please jump in if you have questions or put in the chat, and I'll ask Karen if she'll monitor the chat bar for us so we can answer questions at the end. So Kids at Hope does offer 3 workshops, and our workshop that Karen and I are certified to teach is called Unleashing the Power of Hope. It's the very first workshop that Kids at Hope offers. It's nationwide, and it's actually in other parts of the world as well. So I'm going to give you an overview. What is Kids at Hope? It's a strategic cultural framework designed to engage entire communities to support success for all kids. So it's not a program. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's something else I have to do. And that is not what it is. It is a cultural framework. It's not something that you do on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 o'clock at your school or at your organization to help engage your community. But it's something that changes your entire culture. So, for example, if you've all heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child, if you're thinking about Kids at Hope, our goal is involving all the villagers, everybody who's involved, to help them help our youth that are involved. Kids at Hope is based off of 3 leading principles and practices. And when you attend the 4-hour workshop that Karen and I do, we really go into a lot of depth of all of these principles. Today, I'm just giving you a really brief overview so you can kind of see what Kids at Hope is about. The 3 principles are we believe, we connect, and we time travel. We believe is based off of the fact that all children are capable of success, no exceptions. And we really dive into what does success mean for each and every person. It might mean something different for me than it means for you. So we really talk about success in that first section. The second principle is we connect with all children in a meaningful and sustainable way. We use a connection program called ACEs. If you've heard of ACEs, adverse childhood experiences in children, that's different from this. However, it does have kind of the same philosophy. It's about building relationships with kids and helping them have meaningful adults in their life to help connect. And then the last principle is called We Time Travel. And We Time Travel is about teaching kids to mentally time travel to their future in 4 destinations. A lot of times youth can set goals, like I want to go to college, or I want to have a family, or I want to get this job, but they don't know how to then come back to the present and plan for the future. They know they have this big vision, I want to do this, but they do not know how to get back to the present and then start taking those steps to time travel to the future. So Kids at Hope principles really goes into deep detail about how to help kids do that. There's lots of different myths out there about what Kids at Hope is about. And of course, I'd love to know if anyone, of course, maybe Karen's already shared this, but how many of you have heard of Kids at Hope before? Or if Karen talked about it? And like I said, I can't see everyone, so I'm trying to scroll through. I see a couple of hands, and I know some people aren't on camera. So there are myths about Kids at Hope that tend to be out there. Some people feel like Kids at Hope is just for those kids. Maybe it's, just probation kids or kids in detention, and that is not true. And I'll talk about what the reality is. Kids at Hope is geared towards elementary youth. And again, this is just a myth. Kids at Hope is being used in elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools around the country. Kids at Hope is not just another program. It says Kids at Hope is just another program. That is a myth that people believe, oh my gosh, it's something else I have to do. It isn't like that. It's, again, a cultural change within your organization. And Kids at Hope is just for schools. Again, another myth. Kids at Hope is actually, for example, the entire community of Yuma is a Kids at Hope community. All of their schools are Kids at Hope schools. All of their juvenile court services is Kids at Hope. They've involved their libraries, their fire department, their police department. I mean, everybody in the community is involved in Kids at Hope. Another area in Arizona is the city of Avondale. They are a Kids at Hope community as well. Kids at Hope is just more on your plate. Again, another myth. It shouldn't be something that makes your plate bigger with more to do. It should make your plate bigger in helping our youth. Kids at Hope is for all kids. It fits all grade levels. It is a cultural framework. It engages the entire community, whether that be a school or an organization, a town. It can be so many different things. And it hopefully, again, makes your plate bigger and stronger. So there are some major research findings that the Kids at Hope Research Center from ASU has found, is that it's not the risk factors that prevent success, it's the absence of hope. In the Kids at Hope training, we really dive into what are some of those risk factors that kids have or that we see in kids and we think, oh, well, they come from poverty. And then we immediately start to identify, oh, there's no way they can be successful. So it changes the mindset of our thinking and it helps us to influence those youth's success, not based on their risk factors. We don't control most of the risk in children's lives, but we do control most of the hope, or much of the hope. Hope is taught and learned. It's actually a strategy that you're not born with hope. It's something that we have to teach everyone how to do. To teach hope, we have to have hope ourselves. So we can't teach something that we don't know. So these are things that they have found. And again, programs and curriculum alone don't make the difference. It's the relationships with those adults. So these are their major research findings that come out of ASU that we teach within the first workshop. So that first universal truth is called We Believe. And basically the core of Kids at Hope is that children and youth succeed when they're surrounded by adults who believe they can succeed. We believe in kids 100% and that they can be successful, no exceptions. That's the Kids at Hope philosophy. It's the foundation of the entire philosophy. Part of helping you look at what is success, we look at 3 different types of success in Kids at Hope. We look at personal success. How do you define success for yourself? How Karen defines success and how I define success might be different. And so we really look at helping in the workshop, helping you see that success can mean so many different things. For a youth that's here in detention, success could be getting through the day without having any, behavior incidences. Success can mean so many different things for different people. So we talk about personal success, we talk about bureaucratic and organizational success. How does your organization define success, and what does that look like? And then Kids at Hope really focuses on cultural success. It's achieved as a direct result of knowing how you contribute to each of life's 4 major destinations. And we focus on home and family, hobbies and recreation, community and service, and education and career. It's about how to create and maintain a culture. It's not implementing a program. So that we get really into a lot of detail in these 4 destinations, and we help people explore ways that we can help our youth travel to those 4 destinations, and what are some things that they can do to contribute in those 4 destinations. The second universal truth is called We Connect. Children succeed when they have meaningful, sustainable relationships with caring adults. I've been a trainer for adverse childhood experiences for the past several years, and the research through ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences, does show that it takes one caring adult. It's really simple research. It takes one caring adult that can make a difference in a child's life. And so Kids at Hope has really connected that with their universal truth number 2, connection, that it takes caring adults that can help our youth be successful. They use the ACEs kind of strategy, talking about, if you look at an ace of hearts and an ace of clubs and an ace of spades and an ace of diamonds, and they help you connect to who are those caring adults that our youth should be connecting with. Well, hopefully they have an anchor parent or a guardian, someone who is responsible for their health and well-being 24/7, someone who takes care of them all the time. It might not be their biological parent, it might be a foster parent, they might be in DCS care, like we don't know, but we hope there's someone who can be that anchor parent for that youth. The ace of clubs can be any other caring adult, someone who can identify some strengths in that youth, that can say to them, hey, I know 3 positive things about you. That can be what's considered a caring adult. And I'm sure right now you can think in your head, okay, who was my ace of hearts? Who was my ace of clubs in my life, and who made a difference? The ace of spades is the adult in the youth's life who has high expectations for that youth. Sometimes that adult has higher expectations than even the youth has for themselves, which is often the case. So it's somebody who really sees that youth and has very high expectations for them. The ace of diamonds is someone who provides opportunities for success, helps that youth find ways that they can be successful, and helps acknowledge that youth's success in the things that they do. Some schools in the Valley or around the country actually track ACEs. They actually keep track of who the ACEs are and how they're interacting with those youth. We haven't done that here in Pinal County because our turnover is very high. One of the things that as a school principal that I've done in the past is we had a school of about 1,200 youth and middle schoolers, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And about 9 weeks into the quarter, I put every student's name on a Post-it note and I hung it on the wall in a library. And I brought in all of the staff, the teachers, the classified staff, the custodian, everybody that worked with those kids. And I asked staff to go up and take a sticky note off the wall of any youth they have connected with, any youth that they have made any type of connection with up to that point during the school year, 9 weeks into the year. After everyone was done, there were about half of the names still on the wall. And so it was really eye-opening to see that there's a bunch of kids still in our school that hadn't connected with other folks, you know, with an adult in our school somewhere. It doesn't have to be the principal. It doesn't have to be their teacher. It can be the custodian. It could be the secretary. It can be the nurse. It could be anyone that can help, you know, have a relationship with that student. And so Kids at Hope really teaches that same philosophy. They want adults to connect to kids, and they want kids to have someone they can depend on. I do this with the youth here in detention. I will ask them to identify who is their ace of hearts, who is their ace of clubs, who is their ace of spades. Most of the kids can identify someone in every category, but there always is a youth that doesn't know, that can't identify anyone. And it's really disheartening. So we have to help that youth say, hey, you know what? I can be your ace of clubs for you. I'm going to, you know, I can care about you. I can help you be successful. So that's what Kids at Hope is all about. And that final universal truth is called we time travel. And Kids at Hope believes that children can succeed when they can articulate their future. Again, not just being able to say, oh, I want to be a policeman or I want to do a certain job, but being able to know the steps they have to take to get there, to know what they want in the future, and then also being able to come back and take those steps to get there. A lot of our youth don't know that, or they really don't know what they want to do. Karen and I did a survey here as well with the youth, asking the kids, like, you know, do you believe, you know, on a scale of 1 to 5, how high do you think will you graduate high school? Will you go to college? What kind of job will you have? Will you have a family? Trying to see if the youth can answer those types of questions. Sometimes they don't know, or they don't believe in themselves enough that they might, you know, be able to finish that. So we do really focus on these 4 destinations. We try to help kids time travel, you know, with home and family. Do you want to have a house someday? Do you want to be married? Do you want to have kids? You know, do you want to have a car? With hobbies and recreation, do you want to be involved in maybe a sports team in your community, or be on something like the AJ Coalition? You know, I mean, how do you want to be involved in your community, and what things do you want to do? You know, education and career. What things would you like to pursue with education? Do you want to go to college? Do you want to get a trade? Do you want to get a job at a certain place? What things are you interested in? And then community and service. Again, just how can they be involved in the community, whether that be volunteering or helping out a neighbor, anything to that degree. So Kids at Hope really focuses on helping kids time travel to these 4 destinations and looking at ways that they can set goals in those 4 areas. The folks that are involved in Kids at Hope, we are considered what's called treasure hunters. And our goal is a caring adult who searches beneath the surface to find all the talent, skills, and intelligence that exist in children and youth. And you can see I have the poster posted on my office. We have them all over detention center. We're constantly, you know, digging for the buried treasure. We're trying to find, you know, whatever it is that youth is interested in, to help make some connections for them. And so that's really the goal of all of the folks involved with Kids at Hope. If this was a part of your organization, it's something that you're probably already doing. If you're working with kids, you're already trying to help make sure those kids are successful, they're making good choices. And that's really what being a treasure hunter is all about. There also is a Kids at Hope pledge. I didn't put it in this PowerPoint, but it says, I'm a kid at Hope. I'm talented, smart, and capable of success. I have dreams for the future, and I will climb to reach those goals and dreams every day. And there's been, and Karen could share, there's been many stories of youth who have learned that pledge and have used it in their adult life, reminding them that they're a kid at Hope. They have dreams and they have a future. And that's really what Kids at Hope is about. The overview of the framework of Kids at Hope, again, goes back to those 3 universal truths. That foundation is the we believe, and those bearing walls on the side of that foundation is the connection and the time traveling. So we believe that children succeed when they're surrounded by adults who believe that they can succeed, and that all children are capable of success, no exceptions. It's a really hard concept sometimes for people to make that connection. And we consider ourselves, we rate ourselves between a 1 and a 10. And not everybody is a 10 all the time and believing in kids all the time, but we really try to help them see that, again, that success can mean so many different things. So we really focus on helping our folks be 10s in Kids at Hope. And then the universal true connect, children succeed when they have meaningful and sustainable relationships with caring adults. Again, those anchor parents, the other caring adult, the high expectations, the opportunities for success, using those ACEs. And then finally, the time traveling, the 3rd universal truth. They succeed when they can articulate their future. And so we focus on those 4 destinations for our kids. So the Kids at Hope training, the 4-hour training that Karen and I do, takes all of this that I've just introduced to you and really goes into a lot of detail about these 3 universal truths, helps you engage in those universal truths. How can I use them in my organization, whatever it is that you're doing, and how can I make connections with our kids? So if you're interested in learning more, again, they have actually the Unleashing the Power of Hope workshop is the first workshop that Karen and I do. The second workshop, Advocating Hope and Building Hope Together, are the next 2 workshops that are actually in the process of still getting fully developed. But I would encourage you to check out the website at www.kidsathope.org. Rick Miller is the founder of Kids at Hope, and there's lots of connections and things on the website to help you see what Kids at Hope is about. Karen and I are in the process of getting ready to train all of juvenile court services. We've trained all of juvenile detention staff on the Kids at Hope philosophy. And if you're in detention, you will often hear an officer say, I'm being a treasure hunter today. And it's really great to see that they're trying to make those connections and looking for the treasures in the youth that are here in detention. And then we're going to be training juvenile court services, all of their admin staff, probation, the CASA group that works with our youth out in the community, as well as probation. And then the next training we actually have is scheduled is we're going to be training the Florence preschool teachers and staff. And so we're excited about that as well. So we are open to coming out and training this first workshop, Unleashing the Power of Hope, helping to make connections for your groups and community, and getting you connected with the Kids at Hope organization so that they can support you to continue with the Kids at Hope philosophy in your organization. And I can give you guys my email. I'll put it in the chat bar. You're welcome to reach out to me. Of course, Karen's part of your group. You can always reach out to Karen as well. But I told you it'd be short. It wouldn't be 30 minutes. But that's just an overview of what Kids at Hope is. And I'm happy, I'll stop sharing, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So I don't necessarily have a question, but I did want to say that our team at the National Guard also went through the Kids at Hope training with Rick Miller, and I was a little confused as to how, going into it, I didn't understand what it is we were going to be being taught. But throughout the whole course, I can tie back things to my kids. They talk about affirmations, things that I do as a parent. And I'm like, oh, this is how we can make a positive impact on a larger scale, and that there is science backing behind it, and it's not just a parenting tactic or so a lot of this stuff, I feel a lot of parents do use, and it's a good way to see how you can do it in the community. But his class was amazing. And if you guys have the ability to go to this training with them, absolutely, I would say jump on it, because you'll be able to tie it into your own personal life too.
So thank you, Ashley, for sharing that. Kids at Hope, Karen and I actually just attended a 3-part series to become parent trainers for Kids at Hope. Those trainings aren't developed yet, but we are in the process of hoping to get this out to parents as well. And then, Rick Miller has been around a long time and started this organization, Kids at Hope, at ASU. And has really, you're right, it ties to everyone. It's not just schools or, specific groups. It can be anyone that's working with youth in the community. So thank you for sharing that.
Can I make a quick comment?
Sure.
When I started in prevention almost 20 years ago, within the first year and a half, I got trained in Kids at Hope. And that really set the stage for who I became as a preventionist. So bringing it into a community and offering it to, there's always going to be new cohorts of teachers and people in juvenile corrections and just all these different places where you're going to see new people coming into a space, having an impact on kids. And just from personal experience of having that immediately becoming a professional working with kids, it really does have a positive impact on those kids who are going to be under that individual. So that was almost 20 years ago for me. And he has done, Rick Miller has done an incredible amount of stuff in that time period. And I've just seen it grow and grow and grow. And every day, Kids at Hope just kind of guides and dictates the way that I work with kids. And so I think it's really important to have it as a part of the community.
I appreciate you sharing that. I have been a principal and been involved in education for 30 years. And I didn't even know about Kids at Hope. And even as a principal in an elementary school, and I was an assistant principal at a high school, middle school principal, we weren't exposed to Kids at Hope until I came here. And when I was asked to come here to be the principal at the Juvenile Detention Center, I get comments kind of like, oh, you're going to work with those kids. Well, these kids deserve an education just like anybody else. And they deserve us to treat them in the best way that we can possibly treat them. We don't look at, we try not to, we know they're here. We know they've made some bad decisions or they wouldn't be here. But our goal is to try to help our kids while they're here, at least get the best education that they can while they're here. And so, we try to find the things that we can do to help them be successful in the short amount of time that they're here. And I was just excited to get trained through Kids at Hope and through, with Rick Miller and do the training and then become a trainer and be able to help, spread the word around. So thank you for sharing that it's been part of your life philosophy. Of course, I've always loved kids. I've been in education. I wouldn't hopefully have gone into education without having a heart for kids. But you still, make that decision. And this really, like you said, it really helps tie it all together. And when you start to look at, again, kind of that word success, I have to look at, it doesn't mean you're going to have to live in a mansion and have, fancy cars. Success can mean so many different things. And sometimes we get caught up in the fact that, oh, success means I'm going to be wealthy and I'm going to have this and this and this. And that doesn't always mean what success is. So you have to find that success for you. So thank you for sharing that. Any other questions or comments? And Karen, feel free to chime in.
I just wanted to share that I come from an education background as well. And I always knew that there's some kids that you just have to dig a little deeper to find what makes them tick. and those kids that you keep saying that a lot of times they're just misunderstood, and they aren't maybe that great at doing the pencil paper that we expect kids to sit down and do, but maybe they're an amazing artist, or maybe they're really good at music, or they have some other talent that we need to really capitalize on. And so this whole thing just really resonates with me. I'm really excited about it. I hope we can really get it pushed into the community. I always used to tell my third graders when they would go to PE, if you're looking out for yourself to get a turn at the game, then there's one person looking out for you. But if everybody is looking out for everybody else to get a turn, now there's 26 people trying to get you a turn. So I think that that kind of reminds me of this: if the whole community is out there mining for all these talents, then what are we going to be able to uncover?
I remember you telling me that in the 3rd grade.
So yeah, if anyone's interested in this training, Julie and I would be happy to set it up, somewhere in AJ so that it's easier for you guys. It is better when it's in person, so maybe we can get the multi-gen center or something. But yeah, we're happy to set it up for you guys. There's no charge at all. We have the books for it already.
Yep, thankfully, the Juvenile Court Services Supervisor has given us a budget to help spread the word in the community in Pinal County. And so we can bring this first workshop to you for free with all of the materials. It's about a 4-hour workshop. We like to try to schedule at least 4 hours. That gives a lot of time for discussion and involvement. And then, our goal is to connect you to the folks at Kids at Hope, because we can't stick around to help you sustain the program, to help you sustain Kids at Hope within your organization. But we want to make sure you have the connection to the Kids at Hope organization to continue through that as well.
And I have one more quick question. Julie, is it okay if I put just your training part of Kids at Hope on our website for other people that didn't make it to this meeting to be able to look at?
I think so, Karen.
Yeah, it's fine with me. If you want to use my email or Julie's email as a contact to try to set something up, that's fine. We're both good with that.
Yeah, that's fine. And just, I'm with Pinal County Schools in the Youth Justice Center, and my last name ends with an N. So I'll put my email in the chat bar.
Thank you.
And Karen, did you have anything else? I don't have anything else. If you don't have any other questions, I see that Carol has said she'd love to be involved in the next training. So I'll have Karen reach out to you, Carol. Thank you guys. I appreciate you giving me the time to share. Karen and I, being here to share about Kids at Hope and in your meeting. So thanks for having us.
I just put my email in the chat box if anyone's interested in setting up a training.
Okay, so thank you, Karen and Julie. That was phenomenal. I think it all gave us a sense of hope.